Welcome back. Lincoln Currency. ChatGPT said, imagine a humble 1994 Lincoln cent, a coin so common that over 6.5 billion were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone, yet buried within these millions lie rare anomalies and potential treasures worth far more than their penny face value. That same coin, weighing about 2.5 grams with a 19 mm diameter, carries the likeness of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, introduced in 1959. The coin's composition since 1982 has been a zinc core plated with copper. Sell rare coins +6 Wikipedia +6 PCGS +6. Because of the vast mintage, most 1994 cents in circulation have little or no numismatic value beyond their face amount. A typical circulated example is generally worth 1 cent, while higher-grade specimens might reach $1.01 or slightly more, value driven by collector grade rather than scarcity. Coin trackers. However, the coin becomes fascinating when certain rare conditions or errors appear. A 1994 cent without any mint mark, i.e., a Philadelphia Mint strike, if found in pristine, nearly flawless condition, can command impressive sums. Graded MS68 red in 2010, one sold for $1,035. As of today, similar specimens are valued closer to $100. But red cents graded MS69 can fetch up to $13,000 in rare cases. That price reflects extraordinary condition plus collector demand. CoinValueChecker.com Denver minted pennies from 1994, identifiable by the D mint mark, had about 7.13 billion struck, so most are also common. Still, high grades like MS68 Plus RD might bring $400, and MS69 RD, up to $3,750. Sell rare coins +3 CoinValueChecker.com +3 CoinTrackers +3 San Francisco proof pennies from 1994, marked S, numbered about 3.27 million. Proof 70 Deep Cameo once sold for $1,955, but due to volume the highest grades now trade around $38, PR69 DCAM coins sell for about $14. CoinValueChecker.com Beyond mint marks and condition, errors can massively boost value. The 1994 P double die reverse error, catalogued as FS801, features doubling noticeable on the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. In 2010, an MS66RD sold for $2,875. Today, an MS67 might go for $2,050. CoinValueChecker.com Other minting errors include incomplete plating, where the copper layer wears away revealing zinc, typically worth $95 in MS64RD. Entirely unplated zinc specimens might bring $150 in MS65. Broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails and the coin spreads out, might sell for around $65 in MS64RD. The Sun +2 CoinValueChecker.com +2 Wikipedia +2 More bizarre anomalies include pennies struck on dime planchets or overstrikes on dimes. A 1994 P penny struck on a dime planchet weighing about 2.26 g sold for $750, overstruck dimes bearing double designs fetched $940. Other oddities include double or off-center strikes and fold-over errors, with prices ranging from tens to over $1,000 depending on severity and grade. CoinValueChecker.com In rare alignment, the same mass-market 1994 Lincoln cent can span a value continuum from 1 cent to over $13,000, driven by a combination of mint mark, grade, scarcity, mint errors, and market demand. A top-tier coin market has sometimes been mistakenly described as worth $765 million. That figure likely conflates total series valuations rather than a single coin. It's more a sensational notion than a real single coin appraisal. History behind this coin extends beyond its design. Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the penny in 1909, a shield to symbolize unity following the wheat ear reverse era. The Lincoln Memorial design carried through 2008. In 1994, the composition remained the typical copper-plated zinc introduced in 1982. Wikipedia recent talk of discontinuing the penny altogether, due to production cost exceeding face value, adds curiosity. As of mid-2025, the U.S. Treasury plans to stop minting new blanks in May and end penny circulation by 2026. Critics cite deep cultural ties and collector interest, supporters cite waste, costing several cents to produce each penny. Foot.com +1 Tinsider.com +1 So when unearthed in your pocket or collection, a 1994 cent might seem ordinary, but under scrutiny, even tiny anomalies can unlock dramatic value. Checking mint marks, surface quality, doubling, plating, strike alignment, and metal content can distinguish a 1-cent piece from a collector's prize. Many coins, even MS69 reds or proofs, change hands for modest sums. Some super-rare error or high-grade specimens command thousands. To pursue such coins, enthusiasts often send them for professional grading, services like PCGS or NGC, which authenticate condition and certify errors like FS801, DDR, and cameo finishes. Coin forums and auction archives often document realized prices, though internet headlines sometimes exaggerate values. So the script for a video might flow like this: present the everyday nature of a 1994 penny, unveil its anatomy, weight, metal, design lineage, introduce rarity via mint mark and mintage data, spotlight premium examples and auction records, explore dramatic error coins with visuals, contextualize with historical background of Lincoln cents and penny phase-out debate, and wrap with encouragement to viewers to check their coins and potentially unlock hidden value. Picture the camera gliding across a table scattered with 1994 pennies, the natural light making their copper plating gleam warmly. A gentle voiceover begins. On first glance, this humble Lincoln cent seems like any other, a tiny disc of copper and zinc, bearing the face of America's 16th president. But what if I told you hidden among these billions lie coins that can command thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars? The shot shifts to a close-up of a single flawless 1994 penny, its surface virtually unblemished. This, friends, is no ordinary cent. The scene dissolves into a dynamic infographic sequence. Let's start with the basics. Weight, roughly 2.5 grams. Diameter, 19 millimeters. Composition, post-1982 copper-plated zinc. Obverse, Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, minted since 1909. Reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The camera then transitions to archival footage or historical photos of President Lincoln, the mintage line from 1909 to 1994 tracing across the screen. The story pivots. Now dive deeper and we enter the realm of numismatic intrigue. We zoom in on the mint mark region. Coins struck at Philadelphia, no mint mark, number over 6.5 billion. Denver minted D pennies clock in at 7.13 billion, and San Francisco proofs at 3.27 million. A graphical bar chart appears, visualizing the relative scarcity, but sheer numbers alone don't capture the magic. The voice continues. A dramatic pause, then, what really powers value is condition. Ordinary circulated 1994 cents. Worth a penny. Maybe two if you're lucky. But a red uncirculated coin graded MS68? They can fetch around $100. Those graded MS69 red? Upwards of $13,000, if the market lines up. Overlay, images of actual MS68 and MS69 certified holders, shift to error coins. This is where it gets really fascinating. The camera zooms into a 1994 P double die reverse, FS801. See how the central columns of the memorial exhibit doubling? That's a double die reverse. In top grades, collectors have paid $2,000 plus for these. Visual, side-by-side comparison of normal versus double die. Next, plating errors. Here's a coin where the copper layer is flaking off or missing entirely, exposing its zinc core. In grades like MS64 red, these can sell for $95 or more. The voice shines. This one is strikingly rare, a broad strike error, where the retaining collar failed, so the coin expanded outward, giving a wider, flatter appearance. Even in MS64, these can command $65 plus. A montage follows: dime planchet pennies, overstrikes, off-center strikes, foldovers, each briefly highlighted with price tags rising into the hundreds or thousands. A chart animates onto screen. Here's the value spectrum you're looking at. On the far left, worn pennies worth pennies. Then uncirculated reds in the tens. Rare error coins pop over into hundreds. Double dies and MS69 specimens into thousands and even tens of thousands. One for a 1994 S-proof deep cameo graded PR70 sold for nearly $2,000, though final retail today might be around $38 or more, depending on market demand. Cut back to host speaking directly. You may have seen a wild number, $765 million, circulating online. That doesn't refer to one coin. It's more like the combined lifetime retail market of all Lincoln cents, or the value of all ultra-rare variants combined. There's no single 1994 penny worth that much, yet the myth persists because it captures the imagination. A playful wink to the camera, then we explore historical context. The Lincoln cent was born in 1909, commissioned to honor the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. Brenner's design replaced the memorial wheat ears, shifting the coin into a more narrative weapon of national pride. In 1994, the U.S. was still flush with copper. Copper costs were low, so the composition remained copper-plated zinc, 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper. Yet by the mid-2020s, production costs exceed face value. In response, the Treasury announced the end of penny production and circulation by 2026. Cut to Treasury press release clip or visual. Next, the emotional hook. Think about your pocket change. Bills, cards, tap to pay. Most people discard pennies. But you never know. That single 1994 cent in your change bowl? It could be a doorway to unexpected treasure. It could be an error variant. It could be an MS67 red in waiting. The camera tracks hands sifting through pennies. Cut to tips for viewers. Want to hunt value? First, sort by mint mark. Clean off dirt gently, never scrape or polish. Rank them by shine. Look for doubling. Shining light at different angles helps. For oddities like missing plating, weigh coins. Unplated zinc weighs about 2.5 g, so not much change, but visible color tells more. Off-center strikes are usually obvious. The design is lopsided. Overstrikes you can spot with overlapping images. Show close-ups, macro shots demonstrating each tip. Then, professional grading. If you think you found gold, well, copper, consider submitting to PCGS or NGC. Certification gives your coin legitimacy and can dramatically raise its asking price. But grading costs money and time, so only do it for coins you believe may fetch hundreds or more. Do your homework: auction records, price guides, population reports. For instance, PCGS shows X number of 1994 PDDR FS801S graded at MS67. That helps you gauge scarcity and price. Show screenshot of pop report. Cut to collector testimonials. One user on coin forums posted, found a 1994 PDDR in pocket change. I sent it to NGC, and they graded it MS66RD. It sold for $2,350 on heritage auctions. Another said, I had a 1994 P broadstrike error. I wasn't even looking, just sorting. Graded MS63, sold for $450. Clips overlay text quotes while coins rotate beside them. Finally, summarizing voiceover washes over footage of coins spinning beneath studio lights. From humble face value to showpiece rarity, the 1994 Lincoln cent is a microcosm of coin collecting. It reminds us that even ordinary things can hide extraordinary stories. The key is awareness. Know what to look for. Inspect, research, verify. Because if you're lucky, you may just own a coin that turns everyday copper into collector. The screen fades back in from black. A close-up of thousands of Lincoln cents spilling across a table plays in slow motion, the metallic clink of copper echoing softly in the background. Then the camera zooms in on one singular coin, the 1994 Lincoln Cent, and the narration resumes, warm and resonant. This is where the mystery deepens. We've explored the basics. We've touched the surface of value. We've even unveiled the secrets of errors, mintage numbers, grading scales. But now, we go deeper into the rabbit hole, the realm where history, precision, rarity, and the human eye all collide to transform a 1-cent piece into a legendary collectible. Visuals show a coin under extreme magnification, each microscopic detail emerging like an alien landscape. The narrator continues, let's revisit the design, because even the design itself is a story within a story. The obverse still bears Victor David Brenner's iconic depiction of Abraham Lincoln. This design was revolutionary when it first appeared in 1909. It was the first time a real person's face, let alone a U.S. president, appeared on a circulating American coin. Prior to this, coin designs focused on allegorical figures, liberty, justice, strength. But Lincoln? Lincoln was real. His presence marked a shift toward personality-driven patriotism. And this same portrait remains unchanged on the 1994 penny. A sepia-toned photo of Brenner appears beside an overlay of his initials, VDB, sometimes faintly visible under Lincoln's shoulder on certain cent varieties. The narrator's voice lowers slightly. Many don't even notice the small VDB on the coin, Brenner's initials, yet those tiny letters once caused national uproar in 1909, when they were seen as too prominent and had to be removed from the design. They were quietly restored in 1918, and remain to this day. The 1994 penny is a direct descendant of this long and storied design tradition. As the camera turns to the reverse of the coin, another history begins. The reverse, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was introduced in 1959, designed by Frank Gasparo, to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. From 1959 through 2008, the memorial remained. The reverse is more than just a monument. Look closely, and you'll notice that Abraham Lincoln himself is visible seated inside. Yes, on this tiny coin, there is a portrait within a portrait. It's the only U.S. coin to depict the same person on both the front and the back, and few people ever notice. Footage transitions into extreme macro shots of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial on the penny, almost invisible to the naked eye, but beyond beauty, beyond artistry, what truly drives obsession is rarity. It's the hunt. And in that hunt lies one of the most exciting challenges in numismatics, error detection. The camera cuts to a digital workspace where a collector is slowly rotating a penny under bright lighting. We see flashes of doubling in the letters, slight off-center strikes, the subtle shimmer of unplated zinc beneath peeling copper. The narrator continues, these errors, each a kind of accidental masterpiece, are born from mechanical flaws, human oversight, or the volatile nature of mass production. And in a mintage of over 13 billion pennies in 1994 across all mints, even an error that affects just 1 in a million could mean over a dozen specimens out there. Somewhere. Maybe even in your possession. There's a montage of specific errors, a 1994 cent with a double die reverse FS 801, clearly showing separation in the vertical columns of the Lincoln Memorial. A penny struck off-center by 15%, the design partially cut off. An incomplete copper-plated zinc planchet, half of it gleaming silver. A 1994 penny struck on a 10-cent planchet, clearly undersized and missing design elements. A fold-over strike, the coin curled and malformed but perfectly encapsulated in a grading holder labeled MS63 fold. Over error. Each error type is annotated on screen as the narrator explains the significance and rarity. These aren't just mistakes. They are anomalies, glitches in the minting matrix. They tell stories of machinery malfunction, of planchet feed errors, of dies that refuse to behave. And in a collector's market that values uniqueness above all else, these coins are pure gold, figuratively speaking. Now the screen brings up recent auction results in a fast-moving list, some startling: 1994, PDDR FS 801, MS67 RD, $205019994, D Broadstrike MS65, $1201994, D on dime planchet MS64, $9401994, S proof PR70 DCAM, $1, 9551994, DMS69RD, $3, 750. The narrator leans in emotionally, and yet, how many of these coins were nearly thrown away? Spent on coffee? Dropped in donation jars? The miracle of these cents is not just in their value, but in the fact that most were found by ordinary people. People who looked. People who believed that something so small, so common, could still hold secrets. The story slows down, as the camera shows a child and grandfather examining a jar of coins, flashlight in hand, peering into each copper surface. In many ways, collecting pennies isn't about the money. It's about connection. It's about history you can hold. It's about the thrill of knowing that what lies hidden in the palm of your hand could change your world. The narrator's tone grows more serious. Of course, the coin market itself fluctuates. Today's $1,000 coin may drop to $300 tomorrow. And some websites make wild claims, like that one viral rumor, the $765 million penny. Let's be clear, that is a myth. No single 1994 cent has ever approached such a figure. That number may reflect the exaggerated combined speculative value of high-grade Lincoln cents or the potential value of an entire mint hoard. But one penny? Not even close. The footage now shows a debunking sequence, social media clips with outrageous claims, and then cuts to reputable numismatic sources correcting the misinformation. But while the $765 million story is fantasy, the opportunity for meaningful profit is very real. Coins have been found in everyday rolls, in pocket change, in dusty jars in grandma's attic, and sold for hundreds, or thousands, of dollars. The camera shows a young man walking into a coin shop with a few rolls, and later leaving with a certificate and a big smile. This is why collectors sort rolls by hand. This is why eBay is full of 1,994 penny listings. This is why certified grading companies like PCGS and NGC are backlogged with penny submissions. Because the magic is real. And because when you find something extraordinary inside something so ordinary, it reminds us all of the wonder that still exists in the world. A dramatic music swell, and the narrator delivers the closing statement. So tonight, before you empty your pockets, pause. Look at your coins. Look for the date. Feel the weight. Examine the edges. You may be holding not just a piece of history, but a hidden treasure. The 1994 Lincoln cent is more than a penny. It's a puzzle. A potential prize. A forgotten artifact of modern craftsmanship. A symbol of the unexpected. A lesson in value and values. The screen fades to black, and the final words appear. Said, the video begins again, this time with a quiet hum and the soft ticking of a clock. The camera glides over a velvet-lined display case filled with hundreds of Lincoln cents, each in its own protective holder, each labeled meticulously, 1994 PMS67RD, 1994 DDR, 1994 SPR69 DCAM. The narrator returns, voice low and focused. By now, you've learned what makes a 1994 penny potentially valuable. You've seen the designs, the rare errors, the eye-popping auction prices, and the myths that still swirl around the Lincoln cent. But this story isn't over. Because behind every valuable penny is something just as important as rarity: strategy. And if you're serious about discovering your own valuable 1994 penny, you need to know what collectors and professionals look for. Welcome to the collector's mindset. A hand picks up a basic magnifying loupe. It begins with the right tools. A loupe of 10x magnification or higher. A precise digital scale, accurate to hundredths of a gram. A strong white light, LED or daylight balanced, to spot imperfections. Gloves to protect surfaces. And above all, knowledge. A shot of a reference shelf fades in, books like the Red Book, a guidebook of United States coins, the Cherry Picker's Guide to Rare Die Varieties, and websites such as PCGS, NGC, CoinTrackers, coin value checker, and heritage auctions, knowledge is your most powerful tool. And when it comes to 1994 cents, you need to recognize what matters most: strike quality, color designation, and die variety. So let's break it down. A labeled 1994 DMS67 red penny appears under camera. Strike quality refers to how well the coin was struck. A weak strike will have mushy details, especially around Lincoln's coat, beard, and the wheat ears on earlier designs. But a strong, full strike, with crisp edges and complete detail, especially in the Lincoln Memorial columns and Lincoln's profile, is far more desirable. Next, 3 coins, all graded MS65, but labeled brown, red-brown, and red. The narrator explains, then there's color. Lincoln cents are graded by color: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red, RD. A true red cent has 95% or more of its original mint luster, a blazing orange copper shine. This can mean the difference between a $5 coin and a $500 coin at the same grade. Fade into a slow-motion scan of a 1994 penny showing a doubling effect on the word United. And finally, die varieties. The most valuable is the 1994 P double die reverse, catalogued as FS801. But others exist: minor repunched mint marks, die cracks, and die clashes. Each has value. Each is a clue. Each could turn an ordinary cent into a collectible. Footage shows rolls of unsearched pennies spilling onto a mat. Hand sort them quickly and efficiently. Want to increase your odds? Here's how collectors hunt for these coins. 1. Bank rolls. Visit your bank. Ask for rolls of pennies. Customer wrapped is ideal. You're looking for unsearched batches. Most will be modern cents, but older coins, including 1994s, turn up frequently. 2. Estate sales and coin jars. Many collections end up in dusty jars, forgotten drawers, or estate auctions. The odds of finding high-grade or error cents in raw form increases drastically in these overlooked caches. 3. Coin shows and dealers. Browse bulk bins at coin shows. Dealers often price 1994s cheaply unless marked for condition. Learn to spot diamonds in the rough before someone else does. 4. Online lot auctions. Sometimes entire lots of coins are sold by weight or quantity online. Study the photos closely, zoom in. One error or uncirculated red cent in the batch can justify the entire purchase. The scene shifts to the submission process. A collector places coins in coin flips, fills out a form, and mails them to PCGS. When you believe you found a coin worth grading, prepare it carefully. Use PVC-free flips. Never clean a coin. Cleaning destroys value. Write clear notes on variety, condition, and known errors. Submit through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX if you want authentication and encapsulation. A series of encapsulated coins now spin in a digital display, auction prices overlaying each one. Certified coins are often easier to sell, command more respect in the marketplace, and can attract competitive bidding in auctions. For example, a raw 1994 D penny with a broad strike might fetch $40 to $60. But certified at MS65 by PCGS? You could see that number double. Next, a visual timeline of auction sales from 2000 to 2025, showing a gradual increase in value for high-grade coins. The market for Lincoln cents, especially from the 1990s, is growing. As collectors age and new ones emerge, demand for certified high-grade examples increases. Combine that with the U.S. Mint's future plans to phase out the penny, and you have a market primed for a spike. Quick shots flash across the screen: international collectors, young numismatists, coin club meetings, social media pages, and it's not just in the U.S. The Lincoln cent has gained worldwide collector status. In Europe, Japan, India, and Latin America, U.S. coins are part of educational kits, cultural curiosity, and yes, investment portfolios. Suddenly, the screen darkens and focuses on a single question in bold white letters. Could you be holding the next record breaker? The voice returns, slow and deliberate. Somewhere, possibly still ungraded, still in circulation, exists a 1994 Lincoln cent that could break auction records. It may be the cleanest strike ever made. It may have a yet undiscovered doubled die. It may even be a mint mule, struck with a wrong die. These things have happened. But they only matter if someone finds them. A beat. Then the sound of a single penny being dropped on a table, so go look. Sort. Search. Learn. Share your findings. Start a coin club. Compare with others. Teach your children. Look again. The treasure isn't just in the value. It's in the discovery. Footage of kids checking jars. A woman using a USB microscope. A senior collector annotating his collection in a logbook. Every great collector started with a single coin. Maybe the first one they ever noticed. Maybe the one they pulled from a pocket in the rain. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a 1994 Lincoln cent. The video begins to close, slowly fading to a collage of 1994 cents, circulated, uncirculated, errors, and pristine slabs, each spinning, glinting, whispering a story. The voice delivers its final message: let others call them worthless. Let others toss them away. But you? You'll see them for what they are. Tiny pieces of history. Unexpected investments. Stories waiting to be uncovered. You'll see the 1994 penny, not just as change, but as a challenge. And maybe, as your key to something priceless. Fade out. Ambient music lingers. The screen goes black except for a soft, flickering copper glow. The video returns, this time with a cinematic tone. Rain trickles against a window. A hand gently drops a 1994 Lincoln cent into a velvet pouch. The screen is darker now, more intimate. A softer voice takes over, thoughtful, almost reflective. Let me tell you a story. The music fades, replaced by a slow piano progression. The narrator continues. It begins like most great coin discoveries do, not in a showroom, not at an auction, but in an attic. A forgotten place. A cardboard box. Dust, silence, and a jar full of coins sealed decades ago. The screen fades into sepia tones. We see a fictional recreation, an old man, recently passed, his belongings being sorted by his granddaughter. She finds the jar, hundreds of pennies, nickels, dimes. She almost tosses it into the donation box. Almost, but something makes her pause. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's the quiet voice of generations saying, look closely. She pours the coins out on an old kitchen table. Lighting is dim. Her fingers move slowly. She knows nothing about coins. But one glimmering penny stands out, a perfect 1994 cent, radiant, flawless. She Googles it. She finds vague headlines. Myths of a $765 million coin. Her heart races, the voice slows, more grounded. She doesn't find the $1 million cent. But she does find a near-pristine 1994 P double die reverse. No scratches. Original luster. She reads about it. Carefully packs it. Submits it to PCGS. Then the reveal: it comes back MS67 red. FS801 confirmed. Population, under 10 known at that grade. It goes to auction. It sells for $2,650. Not enough to change her life. But enough to matter. Enough to make her wonder, how many others are out there? The screen shifts from fiction to real footage, gritty, inspiring. People opening rolls of coins. Fathers and sons hunched over magnifying lenses. Retired women charting coin inventories on spreadsheets. Teenagers filming TikToks explaining what a double die is, the voice grows stronger. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's detective work. It's preservation. It's financial literacy. It's generational memory. And the 1994 Lincoln cent, quiet, ordinary, overlooked, is a perfect symbol of that truth. Now the visuals become layered, images of copper mining, mint workers, printing presses, collectors, auctioneers, all merging into a rhythm of metal and passion. And while the myth of a $765 million penny may never be real, the possibility is. Not of one single coin worth that sum, but of millions of people discovering the worth of what they already have. The penny isn't valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because it teaches you to look closer. More close-ups. Penny fields. Stacks. Time-lapse of coins aging. A magnified scan showing microscopic die cracks. A tiny misalignment. The barely visible doubling of United States of America. The voice deepens, passionate. You see, the 1994 penny isn't just about price. It's about perception. It's about how something considered worthless can suddenly become priceless, with the right knowledge. It's about training the eye, and sharpening the mind. It's about slowing down, and learning to observe. Because what you ignore might just be the very thing that changes everything. The music swells. We see collectors young and old at conventions. Some selling. Some just watching. Some holding a cent so delicately you'd think it were glass. Behind every valuable coin is a story. Behind every collection, a soul. Behind every Lincoln cent, especially one from 1994, is the possibility that it matters far more than its face value. Pause. Silence. Then the camera zooms into one final penny, balanced on a fingertip. Light gleams across it, copper red, with not a scratch in sight. The date is clear, 1994. You have to ask yourself, what's it really worth? Not just to the market. Not just to a collector. But to you. The screen goes dark. Then a final line appears. Sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest meaning. Fade out. The piano ends, then silence. A post-credit scene begins. A voice, now casual, says, "You're still here? Good. Because here's the truth, most people won't look. Most people don't care. But you? You stayed. And that means you see what others miss. So here's your secret, there's no magic formula. But there is consistency. Open rolls. Sort them. Photograph what you find. Compare. Join coin groups. Post what you think could be errors. Get feedback. Learn from your mistakes. Quick cuts of coin sorting tips fill the screen. Use a soft cloth surface. Always check lighting from 2 angles. Sort by color before condition. Photograph every anomaly. Never clean a coin. Ever. Submit only when you're confident. Keep a journal. Date. Roll. Coin type. Notes. Build your knowledge before you chase value. Said. The screen fades in slowly from black, accompanied by a soft orchestral swell. We see rows upon rows of pennies inside protective slabs, lit dramatically under museum-style spotlights. The camera pans across a polished black table where a single 1994 Lincoln cent sits alone, resting on velvet. The narrator returns, calm, composed, and determined. You've come this far. You've seen the copper. You've studied the errors. You know the myths, the truths, the strategies. But now, let's talk about something else. What happens when your passion turns into purpose? What happens when your collection becomes something more than a hobby? What happens when your 1994 penny becomes a legacy? The screen flashes archival images of old collectors, some famous, some unknown, flipping through coin albums in the 1940s, 60s, 80s. Some of those albums have the same empty slot still waiting for a perfect 1994 Lincoln cent. The narrator leans in. We often think of collecting as a solitary pursuit. One person. One coin. One flashlight in the dark. But in truth, numismatics is generational. Coins are handed down. Stories passed on. Discoveries made, and rediscovered. And your 1994 cent, no matter its grade, no matter its mint mark, can become part of that larger, living history. Footage transitions to 3 generations, a grandfather teaching his grandson how to grade, a mother organizing her daughter's coin folder, a teenager finding a mint error and sharing it online. The message is clear: this is more than money, but for those with an eye toward the future, there's another layer still. Because coins, including your 1994 penny, are not just collectibles. They're investments. A fast-paced sequence begins, showing graphs and auction data over the last 25 years. Let's talk long-term value. From 2000 to 2025, high-grade Lincoln cents, especially rare dates and mint errors, have shown steady growth. While not as volatile as cryptocurrency or stock trading, they offer a stability unique to tangible assets. Rare coins are finite. Their population is known. Their quality is certified. And they are always in demand. A chart appears, showing how a 1994 DMS69 RD penny was worth around $250 in 2010, then $1,500 in 2015, $2,600 in 2020, and auctioned for over $3,750 in 2023. This is the principle of coin scarcity. As more collectors enter the market, and as more coins are damaged, lost, or corroded, the highest quality survivors rise in value. Now the video transitions to the investment side. Dealers, vaults, and professional collectors, major investors don't just buy bullion. They buy rare cents. High-end Lincoln pennies, especially those with population counts in the single digits, are increasingly seen in private portfolios, numismatic funds, and even retirement asset planning. The narrator pauses, but it's not just about the richest collector or the most expensive coin. Some of the most valuable 1994 pennies were found by accident. A collector searching wheat cent stumbles on a double die. A child receives a proof cent in a birthday roll. A cashier notices an unplated planchet. The market is filled with these stories. Cut to real headlines and auction records. 1994, PDDR FS 801, MS67 RD, sold $4.20501994, D struck on 10-cent planchet, sold $4.94011994, SPR 70 DCAM, sold $4.195511994, D Broadstrike MS65, sold $4.120. Then the video shifts tone once more, toward preservation, because if you do find a valuable cent, the next step is crucial. You must protect it. The screen shows best practices: store in acid-free holders or slabs, avoid humidity and temperature swings, never tape, staple, or glue near the coin, keep out of direct sunlight, document the origin, where you found it, how it was stored, and its journey. Coins don't just last centuries by accident. They survive because someone cared. Now the screen fades into something powerful, the story of a real collector. Meet James Atwood. Born in 1942. He started collecting pennies in 1956 with his father. By 1994, he had assembled a full Lincoln cent set, all 1909 to 1994, all mint marks, all high grade. When he passed in 2018, his grandsons inherited the collection. They discovered his 1994 P penny was a DDR, graded MS66 RD. It sold for over $1,800. Clips of his handwritten coin log fade in, neat cursive, careful notation, and next to that coin, he'd written, "Found this one myself. Pulled from a pocket full of change at the corner store. Didn't look like much at first. But I saw something, just a little different." The narrator breathes. This is what it's about. A coin. A moment. A memory. A family. Final thoughts begin now, slow and poetic, over images of old mints, copper sheets, coins falling into bins, collectors examining them under LED lights. Your 1994 penny may not be rare. It may not be perfect. But it exists. It has a date. A metal composition. A place in history. It is part of something larger. It connects you to the past and the future. The narrator softens. If you hold one now, don't just toss it in a drawer. Look at it again. Understand its story. Know what it is. Know what it could be. The music rises into a crescendo. Visuals of coins being examined at grading companies, auction houses, family tables. Every age. Every background, because maybe, just maybe, the value isn't only in the cent. It's in you, the one who looked closer. The one who wondered. The one who asked. And the screen fades to the final words, the 1994 Lincoln cent. You might already have it. Now make sure you know what it's worth. Silence. Then a single cent appears on screen. Slowly spinning, then one last line appears, alone. The video opens on a cold morning. Mist rolls over a quiet suburban neighborhood. A boy walks home from school, backpack slung low. As he approaches the front porch, he notices a glint between the sidewalk cracks, just a coin. Just a penny. He bends down, picks it up, and stares at the date, 1994. The screen freezes, the narrator's voice returns, calm, cinematic, thoughtful. Most people would ignore it. Step over it. Drop it into a tip jar without a second thought. But what if that moment was the beginning of something extraordinary? The screen comes alive with slow, dramatic shots of coins under magnification, high-speed close-ups of rare errors, newspaper clippings of record-breaking finds, and grainy footage of minting presses hammering blank planchets into history. Welcome to Part 7. The journey continues, not in vaults or display cases, but in real moments. Everyday places. Ordinary people. And in one specific coin, a penny, from 1994. This episode shifts into story mode, a dramatized fictional minifilm inspired by real events. A whispered legend in collector circles. One of the greatest 1994 Lincoln cent stories never officially confirmed, but told and retold in coin shows, Reddit threads, and old collector meetups that we fade into a dusty antique store. A middle-aged woman in a leather jacket browses absent-mindedly. She's looking for old books. What she finds instead, behind a counter, buried under postcards and rusted belt buckles, is a bowl of coins marked 10 for $1. She sifts through it. Almost leaves. But something feels off. Her eyes pause on a coin that looks too clean. Too perfect. She flips it.no mintmark. But what catches her eye isn't the date. It's the back. The Lincoln Memorial looks wrong. The words are slightly distorted. The columns seem stretched. The stairs look doubled. It's subtle, but undeniable. She takes it. Pays 10 cents. Leaves with a frown, and a feeling, cut to her kitchen table. She zooms in using her phone. The doubling is clear. She searches online. FS 801. Double die reverse. One of the clearest she's ever seen. She weighs it, 2.46 grams. A touch light. Interesting, but here's the twist. When she compares the lettering, she notices something even rarer. The E in 1 cent is clipped. Almost like a die gouge cut through the center bar. The coin has two separate errors, a double die and a gouge from a damaged reverse die. Could this be unique? She whispers. She sends it to PCGS. They confirm both, the DDR and a die stage marker previously undocumented. Population, 1. Auction estimate, $12,000, $20,000. But she doesn't sell. She keeps it. Frames it. It becomes the centerpiece of her collection. And a symbol of intuition. Of knowing how to see. The narrator returns. This is what makes collecting magical. These aren't just objects. They're clues. Markers in time. Little metal memories, forged with care, that somehow escaped the factory with secrets embedded deep within. A list slowly appears on the screen, slowly typed on an old keyboard, one click at a time. Orange circle collector's checklist for the 1994 Lincoln Cent, Part 7 exclusive, white heavy checkmark check for mint mark P, none, D, or S. White heavy checkmark look for full red luster, RD, minimal marks, strong color. White heavy checkmark inspect reverse for doubling on columns and steps, FS 801. White heavy checkmark use a 10x loop for die cracks, chips, or gouges. White heavy checkmark examine letters for clipping or extra thickness. White heavy checkmark check rim for off-center strikes or broad strikes. White heavy checkmark weigh your coin, should be 2.5 grams, plus or minus 0.1 g. White heavy checkmark use strong light at an angle to detect proof-like surfaces. White heavy checkmark photograph anomalies for verification. White heavy checkmark compare with PCGS or NGC population reports. White heavy checkmark never clean or alter the coin. White heavy checkmark store in airtight flips or slabs. White heavy checkmark consider grading only if value $100. The narrator's voice deepens, full of conviction, because sometimes, even a coin worth $1, or $10, or 10,000, isn't the point. Sometimes the point is that you looked. You saw what others didn't. You caught the flaw in perfection. You found the flaw that made it perfect. Quick cuts show a montage of real penny discoveries over the years: a 1969 yes double die found in circulation, a 1983 reverse double die discovered in change, a child finding a 1992 close AM, a 1994 D struck on a dime planchet found in a vending machine tray. The screen fades to a final powerful image. A hand slowly placing a 1994 cent into a velvet display box, locking the latch. Above the coin, engraved on the glass, for the one who paid attention. The music softens, and the screen fades to black. Then, one final whisper from the narrator: the treasure was never the coin. It was the journey to find it. The credits begin, not with names, but with collector quotes. My best find came from a jar in my mom's garage. I thought it was junk until I took a second look. They said it wasn't worth anything. They were wrong. One penny made me a collector for life.